You're killing your Subaru engine right now, and you have no idea you're doing it. This isn't about skipping oil changes. It's not about neglecting maintenance. It's not about driving aggressively. It's something far more insidious, something that seems completely harmless, something that millions of Subaru owners do every single day without a second thought, and it's silently destroying their engines from the inside out. I'm talking about a mistake that causes accelerated wear, oil consumption, carbon buildup, and eventually catastrophic engine failure. And the worst part? By the time you realize you've been doing it, the damage is already done. Here's the reality. I've seen Subaru engines with 80,000 miles that look like they have 200,000 miles internally. Excessive wear, scored cylinder walls, worn piston rings, all because of this one mistake. And when I tell owners what they've been doing wrong, they're shocked. Because it's something so simple, so seemingly innocent, that nobody thinks twice about it. Today, I'm exposing exactly what this mistake is, why it's so damaging to Subaru engines specifically, and how to stop doing it immediately before it costs you thousands in engine repairs or replacement. Whether you drive a Forester, Outback, WRX, Crosstrek, Impreza, or any other Subaru, if you're making this mistake, your engine's lifespan is being cut in half. Let's get into it. The one mistake. Short trip driving without proper warm-up. Here it is. The mistake that's killing Subaru engines everywhere. Driving your Subaru on short trips without letting the engine reach full operating temperature. I can already hear you thinking, that's it? That's the big mistake? Yes, absolutely yes. And before you dismiss this, let me explain exactly why this is so catastrophic for Subaru engines specifically, and why it's worse for Subarus than for most other cars. Why this destroys Subaru engines. Specifically, Subaru engines are different from other engines. The horizontally opposed boxer layout creates unique challenges that make short-trip driving far more damaging than it would be in a traditional inline or V configuration engine. Here's why. The boxer engine layout. In a boxer engine, the cylinders are horizontal. They stick out to the sides instead of standing upright. This means when the engine is off, oil drains away from critical components faster than in a vertical engine. The cylinder walls, piston rings, and cam lobes are left with only a thin film of residual oil. When you start a cold engine, it takes longer for oil to reach these horizontal cylinders. During those first few seconds, you have more metal-on-metal contact than you would in a traditional engine. Now, if you let the engine warm up properly before driving hard, this isn't a huge problem. The oil circulates, everything gets lubricated, and you're good. But if you start the engine and immediately drive off on a short trip, you're putting load on the engine while critical components are still under-lubricated. Cold engine oil behavior. When your engine is cold, the oil is thick. It doesn't flow as easily. It doesn't protect as well. At 32 degrees Fahrenheit, engine oil can be up to 10 times thicker than at normal operating temperature. That thick oil doesn't reach tight clearances quickly. It doesn't form as effective a protective film. In a boxer engine with horizontal cylinders, this problem is magnified. The oil has to fight gravity to reach certain areas. It takes longer. And during that time, wear is accelerating. Fuel contamination. Here's where it gets really bad. When your engine is cold, fuel doesn't atomize and burn completely. Some of it condenses on cold cylinder walls and washes away the protective oil film. Without that oil film, you get metal-on-metal contact between the piston rings and cylinder walls. This causes scoring, accelerated wear, and eventually oil consumption as the rings lose their ability to seal properly. And here's the kicker. On a short trip, the engine never gets hot enough to evaporate that fuel from the oil. It stays in there, diluting your oil and reducing its protective properties. Do this repeatedly, day after day, and your oil becomes increasingly contaminated with fuel. Your oil change intervals become meaningless because your oil is degraded long before you hit the mileage or time limit. Moisture and condensation. Cold engines produce condensation. It's a byproduct of combustion. Water vapor forms inside the engine, in the crankcase, and in the exhaust system. When an engine reaches full operating temperature around 195 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit, this moisture evaporates and gets expelled through the PCV system and exhaust. But on short trips, the engine never gets hot enough to evaporate this moisture. It accumulates in the oil, in the crankcase, in the exhaust system. Water in your oil creates sludge. It accelerates corrosion. It destroys bearings. And in the exhaust system, it causes rust from the inside out. Subarus are particularly vulnerable to this because of their exhaust system design and the Boxer engine's tendency to run slightly cooler than other configurations. Carbon buildup. Cold engines run rich. They dump extra fuel into the cylinders to help with cold starts and drivability. On a short trip, that extra fuel doesn't burn completely. It creates carbon deposits on your intake valves, combustion chambers, and piston tops. Modern Subarus with direct injection are especially vulnerable. The fuel sprays directly into the combustion chamber, bypassing the intake valves. Without fuel washing over them, the valves accumulate carbon rapidly. Carbon buildup reduces power, increases emissions, causes rough running, and in severe cases can cause engine damage from hot spots and pre-ignition. I've seen intake valves on Subarus driven primarily on short trips that were completely caked with carbon by 60,000 miles. Professionally cleaning them costs $600 to $800. What qualifies as a short trip? You might be wondering, what exactly is a short trip? Here's the definition: any drive where your engine doesn't reach and maintain full operating temperature for at least 10 minutes. For most Subarus, full operating temperature is around 195 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes of driving to reach this temperature, depending on weather conditions and driving style. So if your typical drive is less than 15 minutes, you're making short trips. Common examples: driving to work that's 5 minutes away, running to the grocery store 2 miles down the road, dropping kids off at school that's 10 minutes round trip, moving your car from the driveway to the street, starting your car to warm it up in the winter, then shutting it off without driving. These seem innocent, harmless, normal daily activities. But if this is your primary driving pattern, you're destroying your engine. The cumulative damage effect. Here's what makes this so insidious. The damage is cumulative and invisible. You won't notice it happening. Your engine will start fine. It will run fine. You won't see any warning lights or immediate problems. But internally, the damage is accumulating. Every cold start without proper warm-up adds a little more wear to the cylinder walls. Every short trip adds a little more fuel dilution to your oil. Every cold run adds a little more moisture to your crankcase. Every under-temp drive adds a little more carbon to your valves. After 50,000 miles of primarily short-trip driving, your engine might have the internal wear of an engine with 150,000 miles. The piston rings don't seal as well anymore. Oil consumption starts. You're adding a quart every 1,000 miles. You think it's normal Subaru oil consumption, but it's actually accelerated wear from years of short trips. The intake valves are caked with carbon. Power is down. Fuel economy is worse. The engine runs rough at idle. The oil is perpetually contaminated with fuel and moisture. Even fresh oil degrades quickly. And eventually, you get the dreaded problems: compression loss, excessive oil consumption, misfires, rough running, and ultimately engine failure. The 2011 to 2015 FB25 engine connection. Now let me connect some dots that Subaru never publicly acknowledged. The 2011 to 2015 Subaru models with the FB25 engine are notorious for excessive oil consumption. Subaru issued warranty extensions. Class action lawsuits were filed. Owners were furious. It was a massive problem affecting hundreds of thousands of vehicles. The official explanation was defective piston rings and low-tension ring design. But here's what they didn't tell you. The problem was massively amplified by short-trip driving patterns. The engines that developed severe oil consumption were disproportionately owned by people who did lots of short trips. City driving, short commutes, lots of cold starts without adequate warm-up. The low-tension rings were already marginal. Short trip driving pushed them over the edge. The fuel washing off the cylinder walls. The inadequate warm-up time. The moisture contamination. It all conspired to accelerate ring wear and cause oil consumption. Engines that were driven primarily on longer trips, that regularly reached and maintained operating temperature, fared much better. Many made it to 150,000 plus miles without oil consumption issues. Subaru quietly knew this, but they couldn't tell customers stop making short trips because that would admit the design was inadequate for real-world use patterns, so they replaced short blocks under warranty and hoped the problem would go away. It didn't, because the driving pattern didn't change. How to protect your engine if you can't avoid short trips. Okay, so you understand the problem, but what if you can't avoid short trips? What if your commute is genuinely only 5 minutes? What if your lifestyle requires lots of short trips? Here's how to minimize the damage. Strategy 1. Combine errands into longer trips. Instead of making 3 separate 5-minute trips throughout the day, combine them into one 20-minute trip. Your engine gets to full operating temperature once and stays there, instead of doing multiple cold starts that never reach proper temperature. Strategy 2. Take the long way home once a week. At least once a week, extend your drive deliberately. After your normal short trip, get on the highway for 15 to 20 minutes. Let the engine get fully hot. Let it breathe. This helps evaporate moisture from the oil, burn off carbon deposits, and partially offset the damage from the short trips during the week. Strategy 3. Change your oil more frequently. If you're stuck with a short trip driving pattern, cut your oil change interval in half. Instead of 6,000 miles, change at 3,000 miles. Instead of 6 months, change at 3 months, whichever comes first. The oil is getting contaminated with fuel and moisture much faster than normal. Fresh oil more frequently helps mitigate the damage. Yes, this costs more, but it's far cheaper than a new engine. Strategy 4. Use a block heater in cold climates. If you live in a cold climate, install and use an engine block heater or oil pan heater. Plug it in 1 to 2 hours before you leave. This pre-warms the engine and oil, reducing cold start wear dramatically. The engine reaches operating temperature faster, and the oil flows properly from the first second. Block heaters cost $50 to $100 and are worth every penny if you make short trips in freezing weather. Strategy 5. Let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds before driving. When you start a cold engine, let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds before putting it in gear and driving off. This gives oil time to circulate and reach critical components before you put load on the engine. Don't idle for 10 minutes. That's wasteful and creates other problems. But 30 to 60 seconds makes a real difference in reducing wear. Strategy 6. Drive gently until warm. When you do drive off cold, drive gently. No hard acceleration, no high RPMs, no aggressive driving. Keep it under 3,000 RPMs and drive like there's an egg under the gas pedal until the temperature gauge reaches normal operating range. This minimizes stress on under-lubricated components during warm-up. Strategy 7. Use high-quality synthetic oil. Synthetic oil flows better when cold. It protects better at low temperatures. It resists fuel and moisture contamination better than conventional oil. Don't cheap out on oil if you're making lots of short trips. Use a quality full synthetic like Mobil 1, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum and change it frequently. Strategy 8. Monitor your oil level religiously. Short trip driving accelerates oil consumption, especially as the engine ages and ring wear develops. Check your oil level every week if this is your driving pattern. Catch low oil early before it causes catastrophic damage. Strategy 9. Use fuel system cleaner periodically. Use a quality fuel system cleaner every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Products like Chevron Techron or BG44K help remove carbon deposits from fuel injectors and combustion chambers. This partially offsets the carbon buildup from cold running and incomplete combustion. Add it to a full tank of gas. Then take a longer drive to let it work through the system at operating temperature. The long-term solution: change your driving pattern. Here's the honest truth. If you want maximum engine longevity, you need to change your driving pattern if at all possible. Subaru engines are designed to be driven. They're designed to reach operating temperature regularly. They're designed for sustained operation, not for constant cold starts and short hops. If possible, move closer to work or negotiate remote work arrangements. Carpool or rideshare so you're making fewer individual trips. Use a bicycle, walk, or take public transit for very short distances. Plan your errands efficiently to minimize separate trips. Take weekend drives on highways or scenic routes to give the engine proper exercise. I know this isn't always feasible. Life circumstances, family obligations, and work requirements sometimes dictate your driving pattern. But if you have any control over it, prioritizing fewer longer drives over multiple short trips is the single best thing you can do for your Subaru's engine longevity. One 20-minute drive is infinitely better for your engine than 4 5-minute drives. The bottom line: short trip driving without proper warm-up is silently destroying Subaru engines. It causes accelerated wear, oil consumption, carbon buildup, moisture contamination, and premature engine failure. Over time, it can cut your engine's lifespan in half or worse. Most Subaru owners don't know they're doing this damage. They think short trips are harmless. But internally, the engine is aging at an accelerated rate. If your driving pattern consists primarily of short trips under 15 minutes, you need to take action now. Combine errands when possible. Take longer drives weekly. Change oil twice as often. Use synthetic oil. Drive gently when cold. Monitor oil consumption closely. Your Subaru can last 200,000 miles or more, but only if you give it what it needs. Regular opportunities to reach and maintain full operating temperature. Don't be the owner who discovers at 100,000 miles that your engine is worn out from a lifetime of short trips. Make the changes now, while your engine is still healthy. If you found this video helpful, be sure to watch this next video as we're sharing insider tips to help you cut repair costs and keep your car running like new.